Hey guys, welcome to the arcade. Thanks very much for joining me tonight. And apologies if there's a bit of background noise. I am sort of trying to drown it out with uh, the a bit of background music. But yeah, a bit of a wind picking up outside. We had a helicopter just overhead just before I hit the go live button, and I have a ticking thermostat that I cannot seem to stop. So wee bit of background noise. These things are sent to try us. First time we've gone live in, a fair wee bit, I guess. Yeah, it's been a while, but I'm hoping to get back into doing at least one live stream a week. That would be nice. I'm hoping to keep like a Wednesday night slot open, and we'll either do some live gameplay or something along these lines. So tonight I wanted to sit and have a chat with you because came up in recent discussions, sort of the whole debate over like a dedicated cabinet versus multi-cades. So before I kind of get into it, I want to say that for the purpose of this conversation, I will be considering arcade one-ups to be dedicated cabinets. Now, I'll tell you the reason behind that. So when we're looking at an arcade one-up machine, generally they choose, I know they have like multiple games on it. People will come and say, there's up to 14 games on these machines, surely they're multi-cabs. However, when they're building one of these ones up, they usually select one game that's going to be like the marquee title. That's going to be the sort of the flagship for that particular for that particular cabinet. So they'll model the cabinet, the artwork, the button layout around that game. So if you take, for example, the Midway Legacy cabinets that we've seen in previous years, you'll have the button layout modeled around Mortal Kombat, how it would have looked in the arcades. Now there are other games on that, and some of them kind of suffer because of that button layout. The additional games are not afterthoughts as much, but bonuses that they've added onto the cabinet. But the cabinet was designed to be Mortal Kombat. It was designed to be Street Fighter. It was designed to be Marvel vs. Capcom 2. That's the way I'm sort of approaching this one. My headphones just kind of blew up there. So that's how I'm sort of looking at it, whereas the multi-cades, proper multi-cades, are normally just very generic button layouts. You'll have your 6 buttons, 3 on top, 3 on the bottom, and a stick. It's not laid out in a particular way to support one particular game. It's trying to support all games in the best way possible. So that's kind of where I'm drawing the distinction. So arcade one-up, dedicated cab, and then other ones, more of the multi-cades. So that's what we're trying to look at tonight. Whether multi-cades are better than dedicated cabinets, are dedicated cabinets better than multi-cades? Is there space for each, and why do we lean towards one versus the other for different scenarios? So that's kind of where I want to touch on tonight. If you have any thoughts on what I'm talking about, or if you think I'm spouting absolute nonsense, hit me up in the chat. I've got it up in front of me so I can see what everyone thinks. I'd love to hear from you guys. So like I said, the topic of this came up quite recently. So if you can sort of see behind me, kind of over that shoulder there. Wait a minute. These machines here. So these would be the arcade one-ups that I have, and you can see we've got Turtles, we've got Mortal Kombat, we've got Pac-Man. Now they all have multiple games on it, and if I can, oh no, you can't really see it there. Hang on. If I sort of go over here, this boyo here is the multi-cade that I built quite recently, and over, hang on, that big sort of black bar that you can kind of see there, that is my At Games Gamer Pro. So we can kind of consider that a multi-kit as well, because it runs off the core, has 150 different games on it, plus CoinOps X, so you can add many more games onto it. And multi-kits are fantastic. So it like just bring these up here. Oh, well, that's the wrong page. Sorry. So the multi-kits are brilliant, and I definitely think the leader at the moment, it's a toss-up between iArcade and Legends Ultimate from AtGames. They both approach them in different ways. I was going to mention Unico's MVSX, but that kind of was like a one and done. That definitely was the market leader for a long time, and they did nothing with it. And AtGames is falling into the same trap where they're not doing anything with their product. It's sat there, and yes, it's great. Look at that. There's 300 licensed arcade and console games built into it, and you think, wow, that's going to be really cool, and it is. But then you can't. Do you want to go further with it? Because these things are a lot of money. Over here, for example, that is £700. So it's a lot of money to get one of these things. You've got your 300 games, but they're not advancing the product. They don't really make anything other than the Ultimate and the Pinball. At the moment anyway. There's maybe some things in the works that we don't know about. But they're letting it go stale. Whereas iArcade, now I know it's not over here at the moment, and to be honest, I've kind of given up hounding them to see whether or not it's going to come over to the UK. They have the business model of they'll sell the machine quite cheap. When you look at the sales that they've always had in the UK, in the US and in Canada, so they'll sell the machine quite cheap, and then the way they're making money is they've just got a digital library, very like Steam, where you just go on, pick the game you want, pay a few dollars, download it onto the cabinet, and away you go. So for people that either don't have the space or don't want to spend an awful lot of money to get an arcade experience, the multi-kits are definitely the way to go. Like, I think I'm not 100% sure on the gold, they may have stepped it down, but on the previous generation of iArcade you could get up to 128 terabyte, no, 128 gigabyte hard drive onto it, so it can hold many games. Like for arcade ROMs you're talking maybe depending on the age, like 20 to 40 meg for a game. So I think John himself said that the 128 was just more than anyone would ever need. You can have hundreds and hundreds of games on these ones, and the library just keeps on growing. I think like nearly every week they're bringing out another game. You can decide for yourself whether you think it's good or not, but there's always a large catalogue of games that you can choose from. Like there is Dead Cells, which is a bit more of a modern game. You have your classics, which is Space Invaders, Double Dragon, a fantastic side-scrolling beat 'em up, and then you've got weird, out-of-the-way titles that you wouldn't think you would see on one of these kind of machines, like Dragon's Lair. And they've done Dragon's Lair really well. Like they've imposed a UI on top of it that would have been your alphanumeric secondary screen that would have sat up on the top. So they have these machines have the ability to play a huge amount of different games, and they are the most powerful home arcade machine out there. Now they're not exactly making the greatest use of it at the moment, but definitely if they wanted to go out there and get some more modern games, this machine could run it quite easily, whereas AtGames and even Arcade 1-Up would struggle with those ones. So it's definitely one to consider. And if they come over to the UK, I do think that there would be a lot of people lining up to buy these. And like I say, if you're going to be short on space, or you just want your sort of your one and done, these are a great piece of kit. And don't get me wrong, at Games, the Legend Ultimate, there is a load of really, really cool games on there as well. You've got Tron, you've got your Star Wars trilogy for Super NES, Bubble Bobble, Millipede. There's some really, really good classic games in there, and the ability to add more with CoinOps X is just a great, great thing to have. Now, let's look at the dedicated cabs. Why do we think there's a need for dedicated cabs when you have these multi-cades? Because you can go out, get one of these, and there's 300 plus games straight away there. The reason I lean to dedicated cabs is, first of all, they're absolutely beautiful. Let's look at the Marvel vs. Capcom. You're an outlier. Miss Pac-Man, NFL Blitz. I know that's not technically well, both of these actually aren't really stock artwork from the original arcades, but they are absolutely, well, actually that one as well, I guess. That one's changed as well. Fuck me. The 4 examples I've got up, not fucking one of them was actually arcade specific. Or, yeah. Because that's meant to be blue. Anyway, the artwork looks fantastic. The sound quality is brilliant as well. These machines are becoming more and more like their real life arcade counterparts. They're getting taller. Eventually I can see the risers just being done away with entirely, and we'll just have a tall cabinet. I mean, they are getting that way with the XL and the Pro range already. The reason I love these so much is it's the same problem you have when you sit down and run through Netflix. You go, I want to watch something tonight, and you sit and you bring up Netflix and you go, nope, 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 and you spend 10 minutes flicking through Netflix to find something, and then you go, nah. And that's the problem I see people having with the multi-cades versus this. The machine behind me, and even the Gamer Pro, like I said, loads and loads of games. If I bring someone over here and tell them that, and you go, what game do you want to play? Oh, I don't know. Whereas people come through that door, they see these 3 cabinets and go, Turtles! Let's play that! And you have a game of Turtles, and then they look over and go, can we play Mortal Kombat? Yes, of course we can fucking play Mortal Kombat. It sparks something. Like, this is where the conversation came up, that I spent quite some time building up that multi-cade behind me. I spent a fair bit of time getting Naomi working on it, and I spent a bit of time getting Marvel vs. Capcom 2 installed and all of the characters unlocked to a point where I have all, 33 unlockable characters all ready to go. I sat and I played it. My friends have played it. We have a great time on it. Then, as you know, at the start of September, an announcement from Arcade 1UP that Marvel vs. that wasn't the announcement. It was the pre-orders went up at the start of September. That Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was going out for pre-order. And I went for it. I already had it. I have it on that machine right there. I can play it anytime I want. I can fire it up. But having the dedicated cabinet was always going to be something that would draw me in. I can play Sunset Riders on those machines as well. But if someone came out and said, here's a dedicated 4-player Sunset Riders machine, I'm picking it up. Because that's brilliant. That's nostalgia. It's it sparks something when someone sees it. Like, there's just something about the old arcades that we all love and miss. Like, walking into an arcade and having a look around at the machines, deciding what you wanted to play just by looking around. You knew everything that was there. You knew what machine did what. These multicades, you can have a look at them. You can see the artwork on the front of the marquees and bits like that. But it's not the same experience as walking around an arcade and just saying, there's Ghosts and Goblins, there's Guitar Hero Arcade, there's Space Invaders, Donkey Kong. All of these machines here that are being shown could be played on one of those machines behind me. But it's a different experience when you have the dedicated machines in front of you. It's a different feeling. And that's something that the multicades don't capture. They don't capture the feeling of an arcade. Now, these machines are definitely a bit more... They take up a lot of space. At the moment, they are still cheaper than multicades. The ones I have behind me certainly were nowhere near the £700 mark for the Legends Ultimate. We're getting close now. I mean, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was $6.99. I didn't pay that. I got very lucky and had a voucher code for the machine. For the store that started to stock it. So I consider myself quite lucky and got it for a bit cheaper. But like these machines just... it's not the same experience as playing on a multicade. The dedicated ones, like I said, with the button layouts and the artwork, there's been a lot more thought that have gone into at least the marquee title on them. I know, like, we have issues with not Pac-Man, with the Midway one, Paperboy, Defender. The control scheme does not work for those games, and they suffer because of it. But if you're sitting down to play Mortal Kombat, it works perfectly. And that's what most people will be playing on these arcade one-ups. They're going to be playing the marquee title. There's just something about them that pulls you in versus the multicades. The multicades are a great thing to have, and you can have a lot of fun with them. And I don't want to take anything away from them, because I bought one and I built another. I can completely see their relevance and their place. But like I said, all of the games that I have on that machine, like if someone came along and said that we're going to make a Bubble Bobble dedicated cabinet, or a Ghosts and Ghouls twin machine, you better believe I'd be picking that up. This game drives me insane. I have it on multiple different machines. I have it on my Switch. I'll have it on the Evercade when it comes over. And if someone came out with a dedicated cabinet, I would pick it up, because it's having the machine that was designed to run this. There's no feeling like it. It's just, and even if you're just one of the things I love about sitting out here is I will switch on all of the machines. I know I'm losing myself. I'm drifting over because I moved my desk not too long ago, and I'm sort of the camera's moved over. I'm used to sitting, and then fuck it. I love just sitting out here with the with the machines on. They all go through their little attract modes, and the music plays, and it runs through a bit of gameplay. And I can sit out here with just a wee drink, and I'll listen to it all, and then I'll stand up and I'll play some Galaga, or I'll play a bit of Turtles. It's very, very relaxing, and I don't think you get the same from a multicade. I know they do have their attract modes as well, but it'll only go through one game, and then it'll move on. The cacophony you get from like 2 or 3 dedicated machines is just something different. And I keep saying that, it's like I can't define it. And maybe it's not the same for everyone. Maybe this is just me. Like, I'm just drawn to these dedicated cabinets, and it's not that I want to. It's not that I want the machines to be arcade accurate. Like for Marvel vs. Capcom, is a perfect example, because there wasn't a machine for, well, there wasn't like a Western kind of machine that we would consider an arcade machine for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. It was the most of the Naomi machines were like on candy cabs and things like that. I don't like candy cabs, for the main reason is you could walk into an arcade that's just full of candy cabs, and you would have no idea what games they have. Yes, they've got the marquees and everything like that, but you have to be standing in front of them to be able to see them. The big cabinets, like these big boys, with the side art, you can see at a glance, oh shit, there's Turtles, there's Pac-Man. Look, I mean, hang on. Just bring this up to a bit of a wider screen here. Pac-Man is kind of hidden behind the side of the other 2 machines, but you can tell what that machine is. It's the unique artwork, and those candy cabs don't have that, and the multicades don't have that. But even if it wasn't arcade authentic, if it wasn't an exact replica, I would still love it. I mean, I don't remember what Ghosts and Goblins looked like. Like, what was the cabinet? What did the cabinet look like when that first came out? Yeah, I suppose I get an idea from the side art or along the video that's playing at the moment. But if they decided that they wanted to do like a revamped version of it, it wouldn't bother me, because they would still make it the best that they can. They would make a dedicated cabinet with beautiful looking artwork, with a beautiful marquee, with accurate controls for this game. And as long as they stuck a decent monitor into it, people would be happy. I like, that's why I go to Arcade 1-Up over the multicades. I still think the multicades have a place, but for me, they don't draw me in as much as the dedicated cabinets. I would say that at the moment, the multicades are a way of playing the games that I cannot get on a dedicated cabinet. That's how I kind of look at them. That there isn't a dedicated cabinet for Sunset Riders or Ghosts and Ghouls or Tubin. Tubin's a bad example. You can get that in the Midway Legacy. But if there was, I would probably go out and get the dedicated one. And I think that's, yeah, I think that's the nail on the head. That I'm using the the multicades to get an arcade experience on games that I loved in the arcade, but I would want a dedicated cabinet for it. And if there was a way of getting that, I would take it. I think that is my. Is that an epiphany I've just had? Is that the reason that I like the dedicated cabinets over the multicades? I think it is. I think I've just had a what do you call it? It's an epiphany or a come to Jesus moment that this is why I like the dedicated cabinets, why I'm drawn to them, even though I have a way of playing the exact same game on a different form factor. Yeah, that's a really interesting one, and I've just kind of thought of that. How weird though. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. I mean, are you? I mean, this hobby is getting like certainly more and more expensive as time goes on. Um, like I said, we're talking about close to £700 there for Marvel versus Capcom. Time Crisis is probably going to be coming out early next year, and I think the rumor for that is it's going to be £800 when it gets over here. That's a big step. There's also the rumor of the Star Wars re-release, which is looking to be about £500. It is getting more and more expensive, and you can put that down to inflation. You can put that down to the chip shortage, shipping crisis, all of the rest of it. All these things have impacted the price in some way. But the bottom line is that if you want to collect these machines, or even have just one or two of them, it's starting to cost a lot more than it did a few years ago, which is a big problem. So if we're looking at cost above everything else, the multicades are definitely a winner. That you can pick up an AtGames for 700 quid. You could pick up an iArcade for what were they down to, $500-600, and you'll have 300 plus games right there. You'll never have to buy another one of their machines again, especially with iArcade. You can just keep adding to it, and they're bringing out add-ons for it. So you could in the very near future they're going to have the Sinden light guns attached the ability to just plug them into the USB ports at the front of the machines. You'll then have access to light gun games. There's a possibility that they'll get games such as, they've already shown off Operation Wolf, so there's Operation Wolf, probably Operation Thunderbolt. Name me some other ones that Arcade 1-Up doesn't have. They would be actually one of the ones you could run House of the Dead 2, possibly even 3 on it, and it would run really well. Now, it's unlikely that they would be able to get that, because I think Arcade 1-Up have quite a good relationship with Sega, if the rumours are still running around with the Sonic cabinet. So it's unlikely that they would be able to get Sega to sign off. But who knows? I mean, there's loads of light gun games out there. I just can't think of anything. And we still don't know if Nintendo would enter the race. Like, would they side with a third party manufacturer? Would they bring out their own? They will do it at some stage. They have to see this growing hobby and think they need to get behind it, because people have been crying out for a Donkey Kong, I'm blanking again. Like a copy of their Versus cabinets, things like that. Imagine if Nintendo announced tomorrow that they were developing and going to be selling a dedicated Donkey Kong cabinet. People would lose their minds. It would sell in the thousands, I think. They would make them money, but as we sort of know, Nintendo they don't seem to want to make money. Do you know what I've just noticed? The music's gone, because I don't have. Oh my god, that's the stupidest thing in the world, that I don't have that added here. Bloody shoot me. Sorry, I was going to say this is just because I've upgraded OBS but it's not. It's because I'm a tit. My god, man. There we go, it's back now anyway. See, I haven't done this in a while. What have I never had desktop audio running with the chat window? That's so daft. Why would I have never set that up? It seems like such an obvious thing to do. Yeah, I've got it with I've got it with other stuff going. Like, if I switch over to my to the web browser one, it's added there. That's a cool game I'd love to see actually as a dedicated cabinet. It would have to be a dedicated cabinet. There's House of the Dead 3. Oh, was 3 the shotgun one? For some reason I thought it was 4. There's a rumor that there's that NQ64 is coming to Belfast. If it's true, I'm gonna end up living there. Look at just walking into that place. I was a kid in a candy shop. It was just such a fantastic place, seeing all those big machines. And if it had been the same place, but had, I don't know, 8 or 9 multi-kids, it wouldn't have been the same. Oh. Is that all I had on that one? Oh well. Spin her back. Yeah, I mean, if these were just multi-kids and they were running the same games, that place would not have the same draw. There's just something about having the dedicated cabinets. But like I say, this is just my opinion. I could be completely wrong. You may think that the dedicated cabinets are pointless, not worth the money that they're currently being sold for, and that the multi-cabinets are the way to go. If you think that, please comment on the video, because I'd love to get it into a discussion. Like I said, this is my opinion, and I can't get myself out of that mindset. It's stuck with me, but there are people out there that will have a completely different view, and I would love to get into a conversation with you about that, because I'd love to hear the view from the other side of things, because that's the only way that we understand each other, is by communicating, isn't it? Anyway, guys, this has been really fun doing this again. I know I've waffled on for quite some time, but yeah, I think when it comes down to it, bottom line, whatever way you want to play your games, that's what works for you. If you want to play it on a dedicated machine, brilliant. If you want to play it on a multi-cade, fantastic. If you want to play it on a handheld, fill your boots. No one should tell you that how you're playing your games is wrong. And I hope I haven't done that. I hope I've just laid out my views on why I think the dedicated cabinets work. I don't want to be forcing my views on anyone, and you can just tell me to fuck off. I'll take no offense to it. Tell me I'm wrong. It's all just games. Games that we love, games that we get into. The arcade is some place that I really do miss. And having places like this coming back is fantastic. It's nostalgia to me. Anyway, thanks very much for joining me tonight. And like I say, I hope to do this a bit more, especially on a Wednesday night. I'm gonna try and keep that time slot. I'm going to try and keep this time slot open, so we can do more things like this, or play some games live. Unfortunately, though, as you can see, there is a gap where my TV used to sit. That was hooked up into Batocera, where I used to do a fair bit of game capture. So I've bust the TV. So I need to get a replacement for that, but we'll find other ways of doing captures and other ways of streaming gameplay, because I really want to make sure that it's coming up to Halloween. I want to be able to do another Ghosts and Goblins playthrough. I am determined this time that we're going to get further than the desert, and I'm going to end up I'm not going to end up resetting the game like I did last time and then getting stuck on the first boss. We're going to go further. I was going to say we'll end up getting to the devil himself, but I really don't think we're going to get there. But it would be nice to try it again, and I'd love for you guys to join me on that. So anyway, thanks very much for joining me tonight, and yeah, I will see you again very soon. Cheers for now. Take her easy.